Once again, my name is Cipyaar, aka the People's Gamer, and today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. So we're taking a break from all that blood, guts and running, and today we're going to be playing Katawa-Shoujo. So this is a little Japanese game, it's like a motion comic. One of my subscribers says it was quite good. Pretty fucked up though, from what I can hear. So it's a bit of a strange game. It's kind of a weird kind of 18+ game where you play as a person with disabilities and you pretty much just fuck all the other disabled children. So it's like a weird sexual game. I don't really know what to expect as it's in Japanese, as I said. It's actually in English but Japanese origin, so you know it's going to be weird, all that kind of anime hentai stuff. It's pretty fucked up. Not much interactivity though, but it is a very strong plot from what I hear, very emotional. So let's get on with it, let's go. This might be split into a few like little parts as I go through this, and I might actually make this into a little series, like finding out what the strangest games I can find on, stuff like that, but we'll see how this goes on first. Start. Let's move the mouse away. So I'll read the writing for you, if you want. A light breeze causes the naked branches overhead to rattle like little wooden wind chimes. It's like a little children's story, almost. This is a popular retreat for couples in the summer. The delicious trees provide a beautiful green canopy, far out of sight of teachers and fellow students. But now, in late winter, it feels like I'm standing under a pile of kindling. I breathe into my cupped hands and rub them together furiously to prevent them from numbing in this cold.
Just how long am I expected to wait out here anyway? I'm sure the next note's at 4 PM.
That's my Japanese accent there. Pretty fucking good. Ah yes, the note slipped between the pages of my math book while I wasn't looking. You stupid bastard. As far as cliches go, I'm more of a fan of the letter in the locker, but at least this way shows a bit of initiative. As I ponder the meaning of the note, the snowfall gradually thickens. The snowflakes silently falling from the white painted sky are the only sign of time passing in this stagnant world. Their slow descent upon the frozen forest makes it seem like time has slowed to a crawl. The rustling of dry snow underfoot startles me, interrupting the quiet mood. Someone is approaching me from behind. Butt rape.
Haha, you came.
Japanese accent again, pretty fucking badass. A hesitating, barely audible question. However, I recognise the owner of that dainty voice instantly. I feel my heart skip a beat. It's a voice I've listened to hundreds of times, but never as more than an eavesdropper to a conversation. I turn to face this voice, the voice of my dreams, and my heart begins to race as I see it's Margaret Thatcher. It's not really Margaret Thatcher, I wish it was, but it's not. Maybe it is Margaret Thatcher. So this is kind of like a little anime kind of story, obviously because it's Japanese and Japanese people love their anime. I got a note telling me to wait here. It was yours.
Damn it!
I spent all afternoon trying to come up with a good line and that was the result. Pathetic. Yes.
I asked a friend to give you that note. I'm so glad you got it.
A shy, joyous smile that makes me so tense I couldn't move a single muscle, even if I tried. Dun. My head is pounding now, as if it was trying to burst from out of my chest and claim the girl for itself. It's getting good. So, here we are, out in the cold. Nod, nod, wink, wink. Once again, the wind stirs up in the branches, and the comfiest noise of my music to my ears. Iwanko flinches ever so softly against the gust of a wind. As it passes, she rights herself as if supported by some new confidence. Her eyes lock with mine and she lazily twirls her long dark hair around her finger. Whoops. All the while, the anxious beating of my heart grows louder. Bum bum, bum bum, bum bum. My throat is tight. I doubt I could ever force a word out, even if I tried. You see, I wanted to know if you go out with me. I stand there motionless, safe from my pounding heart. I want to say something in reply, but my vocal cords feel like they've been stretched beyond the breaking point. Yaso? I reach up to try and massage my throat, but this only sends spikes of blinding pain along my arms. Hayazo! My whole body freezes, save for my eyes, which shoot open in terror. Crap, what the fuck? Hayazo! The beating in my chest suddenly stops and I go weak at the knees. It's called pre-cum, mate. The world around me, the canopy of bare branches, the dull winter sky, Iwanko running towards me, all that, these fade black. The last things I remember before slipping away are the sounds of Iwanko screaming for help and the iridescent clatter of the branches above. So that was a little prologue towards the story. Now it's going to start and get good. Although I'm not promising anything because I haven't actually played this myself. It might be a really shit game, but we'll find out. This is, however, a weird part of my kind of channel where I play the weirdest games. So this probably won't be weekly because I won't be able to find weird games weekly. This was just like a one-off because one of my subscribers says it was quite good. I think he's Japanese himself actually, which is pretty cool. I've always wanted to learn Japanese but never had the chance. So I'll just be quiet for this bit if you wanted to. Not really much going on, but darkness. It's been 4 months since my heart attack. I also had a heart attack. That explains a lot. So it wasn't pre-cum, although it could have been a bit of both. I mean, what's the difference these days? Well, there's a lot of difference, but that's beside the point. So here's the hospital. In that whole time, I can probably count the times I've left this hospital room unsupervised on one hand. So he's been cut up in that little room, sitting on the bed, probably playing video games all day. I mean, I wouldn't complain if I was him. 4 months is a pretty long time when you're left alone with your thoughts, so I've had plenty of time to wank. Just joking. To come to terms with my situation. What? Arithmetic. A strange word, a foreign alien one that you don't want to be in the same room as, or the same room with. A rare condition, it causes the heart to act erratically and occasionally beat way too fast. It can be fatal. Apparently I've had it for a long time. They said it was a miracle that I was able to go so long without anything happening. Is that really a miracle? I guess it was supposed to make me feel better, more appreciative of my life. It really didn't do anything to cheer me up. You miserable jet. My parents, I think, were hit harder by the news than I was. They practically had 2 hemorrhages apiece. What? That didn't make sense. I had already had a full day by then to digest everything. To them, it was all fresh. They were even willing to sell our house in order to pay for a cure. Right, so just go back. Then, there we go. Of course, there isn't a cure. Dun dun dun. Because of the late discovery of this condition, I've had to stay at the hospital to recuperate from the treatments. When I was first admitted, it felt as if I was missed. For about a week, my room in the ward was full of flowers, balloons and cards. But the visitors soon dwindled and all the get-well gifts began trickling down to nothing shortly after. I realised that the only reason I'd gotten so many cards and flowers was because sending me their sympathy had been turned into a class project. Maybe some people were generally concerned, but I doubt it. Even in the beginning, I barely had visitors. By the end of the first month, only my parents came by on a regular basis. Iwanko was the last to stop visiting. After 6 weeks, I never saw her again. We had that much to talk about when she visited anyway. We had never had that much. We didn't touch the subject that was between us on the snowy day ever again. The hospital. It's not really a place I'd like to live in. The doctors and nurses feel so impersonal and faceless. I guess it's because they are in a hurry and they have a million other patients waiting for them, but it makes me feel uncomfortable. For the first month or so, I asked the head cardiologist every time I saw him for a rough estimate of when I'd be able to leave. He never answered anything in a straightforward way, but told me to wait and see if the treatment and surgeries worked. So I idly observed the scar and those surgeries had left on my chest and slowly changed its appearance over time, thinking of it as some kind of omen. I still asked the head cardiologist about leaving, but my expectations are low enough now that I'm not disappointed anymore when I don't get a reply. The way he shuffles around the answer shows there is at least some hope. At some point I stopped watching TV. I don't know why, I just did. Maybe it was the wrong kind of escapism for my situation. I started reading instead. There was a small library at the hospital. Although it was more like a storeroom for books, I began working my way through it, on one small stack at a time. After consuming them, I would go back for more. I found that I liked reading, and I think I even became a bit addicted. I started feeling naked without a book in my hands. But I loved the stories. That was what my life was like. The days became increasingly harder to distinguish from each other, differing only by the book I was reading and the weather outside. It felt like time blurred into some kind of gooey mass. I was trapped inside instead of moving within. A week could go by without me really noticing it. Sometimes I'd pause in realization that I didn't know what day of the week it was. But other times, all the things that surrounded me were painfully crushing my consciousness. Through the barrier of nonchalance I had set up for myself, the pages of my book would start to feel sharp and burning hot, and the heaviness in my chest would become so hard to bear that I had to put the book aside and just lay down for a while, looking at the ceiling as if I were gonna cry. But that happened only rarely, and I couldn't even cry. Today, the doctor comes in and gives me a smile. He seems excited, but not very. It's like he's trying to make an effort to be happy on my behalf. My parents are here. It's been a few days since I've last seen them, both of them, even sort of dressed up. Is this supposed to be some kind of special occasion? It's not a party, I can tell you that. There is this ritual. The head of